I'm Scott Sauls, and I've been the senior pastor of Christ Presbyterian Church since March 1st of 2012. We adopted a very specific four-part outward-facing strategy or ministry strategy when I got here. And a lot of this was principles that I'd learned and observed and been part of at Redeemer in New York City, but were very translatable to a city such as Nashville that's becoming very coastal. In fact, it's affectionately referred to, Nashville is, as the third coast by New York Times and the Los Angeles Times, and so a lot of migration, as we're all noticing here, and I know some people love that, some people don't love it so much, that our city is being heavily populated with coastal people and coastal mindsets, and so a coastal vision that has been so effective for many years in Redeemer, that Christ Pres had so much to do with in the founding of, in the way that Christ Pres gave to that effort when Tim and Kathy first went to New York. It made sense to sort of contextualize that kind of vision to our own situation here in Nashville, which essentially means that we're deeply committed to faith and work integration, and the founding of Nashville Institute for Faith and Work under Missy Wallace's leadership is a fruit of that, and also mercy and justice efforts to channel resources and volunteer energy and time and efforts toward those that Jesus referred to as the least of these, the weak, the poor, those who just don't have the advantages that many of us do in our community. We felt like it was a great responsibility and privilege and opportunity to take the robust resources that are available to Christ Pres through the generosity of our members, as well as the time that people have to give to really forge forward, to continue to develop strong relationships, especially with nonprofits that serve underserved communities. The third leg was and is public faith, and that's sort of the apologetics realm, where we want to help Christians engage meaningfully in conversations with non-Christian friends, or with seekers or skeptical friends, religiously skeptical friends, about things that matter to all people. And so we've had forums and other opportunities for those conversations and dialogues to happen around the truth of God and the gospel, whether it be politics or race or human sexuality or any number of other subjects that we've spoken of publicly. Those have been just a way to help equip Christians to go out into the marketplace of ideas. And then the other is church planting. So at any given time, Christ Pres is financially behind 2 or 3 new church starts at a time, and that could be locally, that could be domestically in North America, or it could be throughout the world in terms of global efforts. But we believe that church planting is a very important, if not the most important way to get the gospel out to the world in a sustainable way that will outlast us, as new churches are formed. And part of that vision is that we've also adopted a multi-site strategy as Christ Presbyterian, and so in the last 10 years it's been wonderful to see that in addition to the Old Hickory congregation of Christ Pres, we've added Music Row, which is right across from Vanderbilt and walking distance from Music Row under Stacy Croft's leadership. And a couple of years after that, the Cool Springs congregation under my longtime friend Russ Ramsey's faithful leadership, and more recently, smack in the middle of the pandemic, we planted CPC Koinonia in the Bordeaux neighborhood, northwest Nashville, under the inspiring leadership, to say the least, of Dr. Micah Edmondson. And who knows what future congregations might look like, but the reason why we decided to do that was to build a diverse network that was not easy to build in just the zip codes surrounding Old Hickory Boulevard alone. We wanted to have a church where we could be in community, we could all be in community with people who experience life in the world differently than we do. And so having different Christ Pres congregations scattered throughout different zip codes and areas in the city has enabled us to be in meaningful community across those sort of cultural differences that typically hive people off from one another. What a lot of people don't know is Nashville is one of the most diverse cities in the country. And when I moved here, it was the 5th most diverse city in the country, ethnically, internationally. socioeconomically. I don't know if that's the case still, but it's also a very segregated city, and it's hard to recognize those realities unless you're very intentional about it. So the multi-site effort has been a part of that, to just kind of build and expand our sense of community cross-culturally within our own city. So excited to see where that goes in the future as well.